There are mornings when the sky doesn't just sit above you, it sits inside you. Not a clear sky, not a sunrise with hope pouring through, but a thick, gray weight, pressing down on your ribs, settling in your lungs, stretching across your chest like a storm with no edges. You try to name it. Maybe it's anxiety. Maybe it's grief. Maybe it's just the weather. Because your body seems to react as if there's a thundercloud in the room, even when everything around you is calm. You try to move. You drink your coffee. You go through your routine. You smile when spoken to. But nothing really lands. You're not in the day. You're just floating through it, like a balloon weighted down with invisible rain. And still, the world continues. Emails arrive, bills wait, messages buzz. And you? You keep playing along. Because it's easier to pretend you're functioning than to explain the sky inside your chest. Some people don't understand this kind of heaviness. They ask, "What's wrong? What happened? What are you so worried about?" But sometimes there's no clean answer, no single event, no breaking point. Just accumulation. Of tiny hurts, of quiet fears, of invisible thoughts that loop and build like clouds no one else can see. And the hardest part? When pain has no name, it becomes easy to blame yourself for feeling it. You start thinking, if I can't explain this, maybe it's not real. If I look fine, maybe I should feel fine. If I can't stop this, maybe I'm just broken. But you're not broken. You're weathering. And weather isn't something you fix, it's something you live through. There's a reason storms have names, a reason we track their movement, a reason we say, "Take shelter." Because when pressure builds, when skies darken, we don't blame the landscape, we prepare, we soften, we wait. And yet when emotional storms form inside us, we do the opposite. We blame ourselves for being slow. We call ourselves weak, push harder, move faster, bury deeper. Until even the act of breathing feels like effort. Until even kindness feels out of reach. Until the smallest thing, a missed text, a sinkful of dishes, becomes the thing that breaks the dam. And still we whisper, "What's wrong with me?" Nothing. Nothing is wrong with you. You're just carrying weather, and no one ever taught you how. Here's what no one tells you. The emotional weather inside you is real. It affects your breath, your thoughts, your energy. You may not see it on the outside, but inside it changes the terrain of your day. It makes simple tasks feel far. It blurs joy, dulls light. And yet, you still try. You show up. You keep going. And that is not weakness. It's strength that wears a quiet face. But even strength gets tired, especially when it's carrying a storm no one else sees. So let's sit with that for a moment, because maybe no one ever gave you permission to feel heavy without a reason. Maybe no one ever said, "It's okay if you don't have words for what hurts. It's okay if your sky feels full today. It's okay to not be okay. You don't have to force the sun. You don't have to rush the rain. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is admit there's a storm and let it be. Because pretending you're okay when you're not, that's what makes the sky in your chest grow even heavier. But when you stop, even briefly, when you sit down, place a hand on your heart and say, "I feel it," that's when the sky starts to shift. Not all at once, but slowly, gently, like light trying to push through fog. When the sky inside you turns dark, your body knows before your mind does. It pulls your shoulders forward. It hollows your chest like a cave. It wraps your breath in something invisible but tight. And before you realize it, you're not just tired, you're unreachable. Like a radio signal fading in static. Like a lighthouse with no beam left. You go quiet. Not because you have nothing to say, but because it feels like no one would hear it anyway. You cancel plans, not out of apathy, but because joy feels too bright for your state of mind. You scroll past happy moments, not because you resent them, but because they feel like a language you forgot how to speak. This is the quiet part of the storm. The inner weather system that doesn't scream. It simply presses. And it tricks you. It says, "You're the only one who feels like this. No one else is this slow. Everyone else gets up and does it. What's wrong with you?" But these are not truths. They are storm voices, born in the fog, shaped by pressure. Because when your emotional barometer tips, so does your ability to think clearly, to believe kindly, to remember that storms pass. That's why it's dangerous, not because it makes you weak, but because it makes you forget you're not. So here's something radical. Instead of fighting the storm, what if you befriended it? What if you stopped trying to be okay and started being honest? What if you let someone know, not through a dramatic announcement, but a quiet sentence? "Hey, today feels heavy. Could we talk or just sit in silence together?" You'd be surprised how many people are walking through their own cloud banks. How many would respond, "I get it. Me too. I'm so glad you said something." Because when we give language to our weather, we give it somewhere to go. You don't need to turn your storm into sunshine. You don't need to convert it into productivity. You don't need to apologize for it. You just need shelter. And shelter doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be the smallest act of presence. A blanket that smells like home. A song that holds you gently. A warm drink held with two hands. A journal page that listens without judgment. A walk with no destination, just motion. These things won't erase the storm, but they'll remind you you're still here. You're still breathing. And this, too, has a rhythm. It's easy to forget that emotional storms aren't flaws in your character. They are part of your design. Proof that you feel deeply. Proof that you're sensitive in a world that keeps trying to harden you. Proof that your heart is still open, even when it hurts to keep it that way. So if your chest feels like cloud cover, let that be okay today. Let the heaviness be met with softness. Let the silence be your conversation. Let the slowness be your answer. Let your body lead, and your mind follow later. You don't have to perform lightness to deserve love. You don't have to fix yourself to be worthy of rest. You don't have to be cheerful to be held. Sometimes your presence alone is the most honest and human thing in the world, even if it arrives under a sky that feels too heavy. Some days, the most courageous thing you can do is stay. Stay with the ache. Stay with the breath. Stay in your own skin, even when it doesn't feel like a home. Because when the sky in your chest feels too heavy, the natural instinct is to run. Not always literally, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You check out. You dissociate. You fill the silence with screens, scrolls, noise. Not because you're weak, but because somewhere along the line, you were taught that stillness would drown you. But here's the truth no one said. Stillness isn't what drowns you. It's what saves you. When you stop running, you stop scattering your energy. You begin to gather yourself back, like droplets returning to the ocean. And you remember, this weather is not forever, and neither are you stuck in it. Healing doesn't always come in thunderclaps or sudden sunbreaks. Sometimes it looks like learning how to hold the rain. It looks like whispering to yourself, "I'm not okay right now, but I'm still here." It looks like canceling plans and not feeling guilty. It looks like setting your phone down and facing the quiet. It looks like letting a single tear fall, even if no one else sees it. It looks like making room for emotion, for tension, for the messy, shapeless fog of being human. And in that room, something begins to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. So this week, if the sky inside you still feels full, don't wait for permission to rest. Don't wait for the clouds to clear before you choose kindness. Build a little shelter where you are. A routine that holds rather than pressures. A space that comforts instead of judges. A voice, your own, that says, "You're not a storm. You're the one moving through it." Speak to yourself like you would to someone you love, and mean it. Because beneath all that weight, beneath the clouds and the ache, there is still you, soft, brave, trying, and that matters more than you know. If no one told you lately, you're not a burden. You're not too much. You're not overly sensitive. You're a whole person, with a whole sky inside you. And some skies take time to understand. Some storms pass quietly. Some storms leave floods. But every storm teaches something about what you can carry, what you can let go of, what kind of shelter you deserve. So maybe today, you don't need to fix the weather. You just need to sit beneath it with your hand on your chest and say, "I feel it, but it doesn't define me." Because it doesn't. It never has. Your breath is still here. Your pulse is still steady. And the world, though loud and rushed, still has room for people who feel deeply. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to soften. You are allowed to not be okay, and still be worthy of care. So when the sky in your chest feels too heavy, don't fight it alone. Just stay. Stay kind. Stay soft. Stay close to yourself. The storm will pass. And even if it doesn't today, you will still make it through. I'll see you next one.